All right. And there's one other thing real quick that I need to do, and then we'll go live. So, okay. One little thing. Hello. Welcome, 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 everybody. Come on in. And for those of you who already have your books, just so you know, in advance, we're going to be in chapter 23, section 2 if you have the blue book, section 3 if you have the original edition. Okay.
Say that again.
23, 2 in the blue book, and if you have the original edition in whatever form, then it's section 3, and it's called The Laws of Chaos. Okay. So the first thing I want to do is just for us to just breathe for a moment and allow our minds to actually be where our bodies are. Right, a radical concept, but that our minds would just be here right now. So if you are able to go ahead and close your eyes and take a breath. Oh, yes, this is our time to leave the world behind, to step out of time. The past is gone. It cannot touch us. The future has not yet happened. And all that we need for perfect peace and joy and abundance and healing and inspiration, it's here right now within us. And so we open our hearts and our minds to the love and the supreme intelligence that is within us, just waiting for us to be open to it. And so we draw our awareness inward and upward, feeling that eternal, unconditionally loving presence that lives within our hearts and minds. We feel it, allowing that feeling to enable us to remember our true nature, our true self, as divine spirit, as eternal love. We practice the holy instant where we take this moment and see it as all there is of time, and thus remember our eternal nature as only love. This is our time to remember who we are in reality. Deathless, timeless, limitless. Only love. Forever connected as one. Let us for a moment feel the fact of our oneness. It's not a rumor. It's not just a pretty thought. It is a fact. We are all connected by love, in love, forever. There is no separation. There is no loss. There is no death. Yes, the body dies, but that's not us. That's just a suit of clothes that we are wearing, but for an instant. And so we breathe and feel our true nature We breathe and remember our true self. We remember oneness, and we let that truth heal our belief in separation that has hurt us. We allow the remembrance of our true nature of oneness to heal our loneliness and our grief. And let us thank our source, our creator, love, for creating us eternal. We thank you, God, for creating us complete, which means that we lack for nothing. We are missing nothing. We have everything within us that we could possibly need for complete peace now and forever. Thank you, God, for creating us complete, needing nothing, lacking nothing, and never, ever being even able to be alone. Thank you, God. Beautiful. And then when you're ready, just bring your awareness back to the room. Take a deep breath, bringing your awareness back to the room, back to your body. Remembering that you can return to this oasis within, this holy relationship within, anytime, anywhere, for free. For free. What a deal. All right. Well, welcome, guys. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being here. Appreciate you coming to share in the community that is the Rocky Mountain Miracle Center. Thank you. All right. Hi, Trudy. Hi. Okay, guys. So where we're going to be at today is the laws of chaos. And like I said before, it's chapter 23, section 2 in the blue book, chapter 23, section 3, if you are in the original edition in whatever form you have it. Okay. Right. Okay, so it's a very interesting section. It's one of the longest sections in the book. So we're not going to cover every paragraph. It would take us a few days to do that. But this is a really, really powerful, valuable section in my perception. This section talks about how the world became so chaotic. It also is how our lives became so chaotic. So the laws that govern chaos. So these are the principles and these are the ideas that if you believe, then you can be sure that you will have chaos in your life and in your world. Okay? So chaos, despite popular opinion, is not an accident. That is not the nature of reality. Chaos is not the nature of reality. Entropy is not the nature of reality. It's not the nature of reality to be chaotic and always decaying. That is not the nature of reality. Chaos is an error. Chaos comes from some beliefs that were never true and are not true. So chaos comes from beliefs. This section is going to teach us where chaos comes from. It's going to teach us about the beliefs that always produce chaos. Chaos in your world, chaos in your life, chaos in your body, chaos in your relationships. It's going to tell you what beliefs produce that, which also is going to be telling you, okay, what is the opposite? How do you reverse chaos? How do you undo chaos? Well, if the chaos is coming not from an accident, but from your beliefs, then this is telling you which beliefs you want to ask to be corrected. And as you hear the truth, the Course in Miracles says that the undoing of lies happens when you bring what's not true to what is true. And then the truth undoes the lies for you. Isn't that beautiful? So you hear the truth, and then you don't have to figure out how to undo the false belief that you've learned. All you do is bring your beliefs that you learned that produces chaos to the truth, and then the truth undoes that false belief for you. Isn't that beautiful? That is the undoing process. That is how it is undone. Okay. So just going, aha, I see. There's the belief. There's the chaos. Okay, great. What's the opposite of that belief? Okay, great. That's what I'm going to go for. Okay. And that is how chaos is undone. It's undone like every single illusion, every single lie, every single false belief is undone. You bring it to the truth and you let the truth take it from there. Isn't that beautiful? That's our part in the undoing process. And that's what we're going to do today. Now, does that sound practical? Did anybody got any chaos going on in their world? Okay, any chaos going on? Okay. You know, any situations where you feel a little out of control or you're afraid of what's happening, anything like that? Okay, great. And if you don't, then tell me, raise your hand, I'll give you some of mine you can work on during class. Okay, so does everybody see where we're at? 23:3. Everybody see it? Okay. Now, like I said, this is one of the longest sections in the book, so I am going to be doing some shortening. I'm not going to read every single paragraph because we would never get through it. So I'm kind of going to, in some parts, I'm just going to like give you the highlight and then we'll move on. Okay. All right. So the laws of chaos. The laws of chaos can be brought to truth, though never understood. So you can bring it to truth, but it's never going to make sense. Now, that's because chaotic laws are hardly meaningful, which means chaotic ideas are therefore out of reason's sphere. So chaotic laws, they don't make sense. So you can't be like, that doesn't make sense. Let me try to figure it out. You'll never figure it out because it doesn't make sense. It's not meaningful. It wasn't made to be logical and make sense. So you can bring the beliefs that produce chaos to light, but you can never go, oh, I get it. That makes sense. No, they don't make sense. That's why they're chaotic. Okay. Then it says, yet the laws of chaos appear is underlined in the original edition. They appear to constitute an obstacle to reason and to truth. So let us then look upon these laws of chaos calmly, no riots, please, calmly, that we may look beyond these laws of chaos, which means that we might understand what they are, not the chaos they would maintain. Okay, so we're going to look at them and we're going to understand what they are. Okay, we're not going to talk about the chaos that they would maintain. Now, why are we going to do this? Because it's essential that it be understood what these laws of chaos are, what they are for, because it is their chaotic purpose to make meaningless and to attack the truth. So all these beliefs that you're going to hear about, the purpose of every single one of these laws of chaos, these beliefs, is to what? Is to make meaningless and to attack the truth. You could just say that about all of our ego's beliefs. The whole purpose of all of our ego and our ego's beliefs is to attack the truth. The purpose of the ego is to attack the truth, not just ignore the truth, not just go, oh, that truth is so dumb. Oh, that truth is not true. No, the purpose of the ego and all the ego's beliefs is to attack the truth about you and about reality. So when we talk about the laws of chaos, here are the laws that rule the world you made. So have you ever had that thought recently, like, who rules this world? Who is in charge of this world? Who rules this world? Okay, well, it's a thought system. It's a belief system. And it's a belief system whose purpose is to attack the truth. Wow. That's who rules the world you made. Okay. So everything you're going to hear today is what. So it's not a matter of who rules the world as much as a what rules the world. What rules the world? The people that we see, we go, oh, that person rules the world. No, that person is believing in this belief system. And so the people you see, those are just the people who are expressing the belief system whose purpose is to attack the truth, and the belief system that produces chaos. So it's pretty obvious that what rules the world produces chaos, wouldn't you say? Because it's pretty systemic. And it goes back as far in the world's history as you can go, right? You're like chaos. Like, when has there ever been a time there wasn't war or disaster happening on this planet? Anyone? The week of the one day there was not chaos in the world. Nobody can come up with that. Okay, so obviously, whatever rules this world does produce chaos, and it's not an accident. Okay, and we're going to hear about what those beliefs are that rules the world, and which means we're going to be learning what to not believe to produce a world and a life that's not chaotic. To me, that sounds ultimately practical. All right, now it says, here are the laws that rule the world you see, and yet these laws govern nothing. And these laws of chaos, they don't need to be broken. They merely need to be looked upon and gone beyond. Isn't that beautiful? So we don't have to break any laws. We just got to look at them and go, man, that's crazy. I don't want to believe that anymore. And now I'm going to go beyond them to something that's true. All right. So are you guys ready for the first law of chaos? The first belief. Okay, here we go.
More than one?
Yes. There's 4, but it takes about at least 20 paragraphs to get to them all. So I'm gonna reduce that. So the first chaotic law, which means the first belief that if you believe it, it's going to produce chaos in your life and in your world, is, drum roll please, that the truth is different for everyone. Right on time, Aria. Remember how Aria always calls when I start class? So the first belief that produces chaos is that the truth is different for everybody. My truth is different from your truth, and that's why we're different, and that's why you're wrong. And that's why you deserve to die. Okay, anybody recognize that law on this planet? What are our wars usually about? They don't believe like we believe. So that means they're wrong. They're not even human. And then now they deserve to die. Because, they don't agree with me. So anybody recognize that that law that rules this world? Whoever doesn't believe like me is wrong, and they deserve to die because of that. It's what we call religion. Oh, that's what goes by religion. We're right, you're wrong. Truth is different, and because you don't believe like me, you deserve to die. Wow. And then what comes from that? Chaos, wars, death, chaos. Okay. So it says, like all these principles, this idea, this belief maintains that every person is different, separate, and that each person has a different set of thoughts, a different set of beliefs, which then sets them off from others who have different beliefs. So if truth is different for everybody, then I have these beliefs that are different from theirs, which means my beliefs set me off from them. So everybody recognize that? Okay. Now, this principle evolves from the belief that there is a hierarchy of illusions, lies, where some beliefs, some false beliefs, are more valuable and therefore true. Okay, so there's a hierarchy of false beliefs, right? My false beliefs are truer than your false beliefs. A hierarchy of false beliefs, right? No, all false beliefs are the same, right? So if your beliefs are that you're separate and that your beliefs make you different than others that have different beliefs, then what you believe is a lie. It's false. It's an illusion. All right. So it says, but I believe that that some beliefs are more valuable than others, you know, like mine. Mine are more valuable. I believe that there's a hierarchy of belief and that mine are the more true. Okay. Everybody clear on that? Don't we, isn't that you, it's like when you hear it, you're like, yeah, that is exactly the way the ego perceives, you know, that we just, it's just an unquestioned assumption that the way I believe is accurate and the way other people believe is wrong. That's just like, why do you need to question that? It's just that like built in to our belief system that we never thought to question. Why is it that we always go, well, of course, the way I see it is right. And if they don't agree, then they're just wrong. They're stupid. And so, you know, I mean, obviously they don't deserve to live. I mean, you know, come on, that's obvious, right? I mean, it's so stupid. It's so ridiculous. But until you actually look at it, it's just, it goes unquestioned. But that is what is, that's the first law of chaos that is producing chaos in our life and in our world and in our bodies and in our relationships. Okay? All right. And it never occurs to us that maybe we're both wrong. That never, ever occurs to us.
That couldn't be true.
Like we're having a disagreement. It would never occur to us to go, well, obviously we must be both wrong because we're not at peace. No one ever comes up with that on their own, unless you know their higher self goes, wrong. You know, if you think you and that person that you're arguing with or upset with are having different thoughts, you definitely are wrong. Right? Because if you are arguing and debating about anything, you both don't know the truth. Because anybody who knows the truth wouldn't be arguing or debating. They would know that obviously we think the same. Obviously, we're both wrong. Number one, we think we're different. And number two, we think that we're the one who's more right. And number three, we think that makes us different. And we think that justifies our attack on them. So we're both, why is it that when somebody disagrees with us, we feel offended? Why? Why is it not okay if somebody disagrees with us? Why?
Because we identify with
Exactly.
the identity that they're disagreeing with. It's not what I've said.
Exactly. We identify with our beliefs, even though they're obviously wrong, because our beliefs start with, we're different. Mm-hmm. We're separate. I'm me and not you. Yeah, we identify with our beliefs. So that's how you know, for starters, that your beliefs are wrong. Because if somebody doesn't agree with you and you feel offended, then obviously you don't know who and what you are. But all right. So then it says, so it goes like this. It says, right, this principle that the truth is different from everybody evolves from the belief that there's a hierarchy of false beliefs, which means that some false beliefs are more valuable and therefore true, like mine, and that each one of these beliefs and each person establishes this hierarchy of beliefs for themselves, and they establish this hierarchy of belief for themselves. How? They make it true by attacking what other people believe. So I establish that this hierarchy of belief with my beliefs on top, of course. And I established that hierarchy by attacking everybody else's beliefs. That's how I go, there's a hierarchy of belief. And mine are the more true. Mine are on top. How am I going to establish that? I'm going to attack what you believe and say it's wrong. Okay? That's how we do it. This is how we make chaos for ourselves. And so I want to say to you, I want you to think about any area of your life right now where there's some chaos happening, whether it's your world or your life or your body, or whatever. And I want you to think about how it is that you're believing these false beliefs in that situation. So like in this situation where me and this person are in a fight, okay, are in a battle, we are in conflict. How is it that I'm telling myself that I'm different from them and that I'm the one who's right? Right? You want to ask yourself that question. In this situation, how am I telling myself, where's my belief that me and this person are different and that I'm right? Okay? So you want to ask yourself these questions in any situation where you're experiencing chaos, which is conflict. Conflict is chaos, right? Conflict is chaos. So if you have any challenges applying this to whatever conflict you've got going on, then feel free to raise your hand and go, yeah, but what about you know who? You know who, where I'm pretty sure I'm right and they're wrong. And if they would just agree with me and see and acknowledge that they're wrong, then we would have peace. I mean, what's so hard about that? If they just acknowledge that I'm right and they're wrong, then it'd all be good. If they would just humble themselves, which they never do. If they would just humble themselves and see that I'm right and they're wrong, well, then we can get back to having peace. Okay.
Do that once. They disagreed with me immediately, and I felt a little denied because we could have had a really good argument.
Exactly. I very early on in my life with the course, I learned that little trick, where I saw that, I saw that we were all the same. And so with one of my family members who was a lawyer who loves to argue, he said, I really love you, but I really hate it that you always agree with me. And I was like, oh, I can see how that would be irritating. He's like, see, you're doing it again. But I learned from the course that there's nothing that they could say that I can't relate to on some level, because we're the same. So there's nothing that this person could say where I could be like, I can't believe you believe that. Right? So, yes.
Does that just because you're a Libra?
Would say that adds to it. That adds to it.
But I wanted to also point out that, sorry for the smart ass, but
Just be yourself.
I wanted to comment that you brought up the idea of an attorney in this regard.
Mm-hmm.
It has been in my mind for a long time, even though I didn't study law, that the skill of learning to debate is a useful one to acquire, because at the very least it allows one to separate oneself from one's beliefs and to recognize that I don't have to be my beliefs. I can take a position and argue for or against it without taking ownership of it.
That's
or
right.
identifying with it.
Exactly.
I think that's a very valuable skill that's really
Absolutely.
underdeveloped in our.
I totally agree. Absolutely. What'd you say?
You're agreeing.
See? Now, is that the Libra or is that, correct perception? But it is true. It is true. And having that skill enables you also to, like, if you're not identifying with your belief, then now you can question your belief. And then the Course in Miracles is teaching us there is a test of truth. There is a way to reality test anything you believe. And if something that if you are experiencing conflict, if you're experiencing anything but peace, joy, happiness, abundance, and health, then you know you're wrong about something. And so you're like, oh, I've got my beliefs. Okay, well, are they producing happiness, health, and wealth for you? Well, no, I've got chaos. Okay, well, there you go. There's your reality test.
I think that there are times when my beliefs do produce those things and they're still erroneous. But I think that, there might be if I eat healthy, I do da-da-da-da, right? Exactly. But one of the tools, when we take the course and we read the other side of what's silently being said, right? We know that truth needs no defense.
Exactly.
Right. So if I find myself, as this is, in defense, I already automatically know that I've stepped out of the realm of truth.
That's exactly right. Because you don't need to defend the truth.
Yeah.
So if you're defending yourself, then you're not identifying with your true self.
And I might feel happy about what I'm thinking in the moment, but it's not that eternal, that forever trust.
Exactly. And if it's not a true thought, then it's going to have some sort of effect that is not happy at some point. Maybe in the moment you're like, I'm so right, it feels so good. But it's still going to have a negative effect in your experience. Yeah. And so, we don't want to be defending our beliefs that obviously are producing negative effects, if we are not experiencing perfect peace in our experience, then instead of taking the position that we're right and they're wrong, we want to say, well, I don't know anything because I don't have the results that show me that I have correct perception. Until you have the results of correct perception, which is peace, then you don't have correct perception yet.
And the negative effects probably of all these chaotic rules is that we're different, and if I'm right and you're wrong, we're different, and we're separated.
Exactly.
And that's the bottom line, is let's be separate and different.
And that's the first law of chaos. We're different. We're different. I'm different from you because I believe something different from you. And when you look at it, you're like, well, that's ridiculous. How could that be that just because I believe something different from somebody that I'm different from them? Right.
And as soon as you say, like, they're Jewish, I'm not, then immediately you think I'm different. You're Baptist, I'm Catholic, we're different.
Right. Exactly.
Any of those, we're different.
Exactly. And the truth is that the reason why we're not different is because no matter what we believe, even if we're right or wrong or whatever, is because we are both children of God, equally loved, equally valuable, equal in worth. Who don't know it?
Right.
We're the same.
We're the same, we've forgotten.
Yeah, we're the same. You don't know the truth about yourself, and neither do I. And it doesn't change the truth about us. We're the same. So there's nobody that's not true for, right? No matter how, evil you may think they are, the truth is that you're the same. They, just like you, are a beloved child of God who is perfect, who is created perfect, and who doesn't know it, and who is making mistakes from their mistaken identity. You're exactly the same as this person. You're like, they're a monster. They're evil. Nope. They're exactly like you, a child of God who has forgotten who they are and who's acting insane, just like you.
Well,
Yes.
they might think that you're evil. I mean,
Sure.
both ways.
Of course, most probably.
Big one is religion. but
Yes, that's right. Exactly.
It's like we have to, this just rings true so much because we can't be in a rigid mindset. I mean, the ego will take over, obviously. We're in our soul, we realize that we're all one,
Right.
and we're all together. We can, have great, love one another. Yeah, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, it is the truth. And what is the essence of politics and religion as we have done it so far the essence is separateness. We're different. It's the essence of it is divide and conquer. We're different. And we're different in these ways, and that's why we are justified in going to war or judging or condemning others. It's our different beliefs that we think make us different is the basis on which we judge and condemn others.
It's so interesting because you and I had this conversation this morning on judgment, right? And how we get so entrenched in our version of truth, aka judgment, right? That it builds within us this system that has to then play out.
Yes.
You know, and as I was sharing with you earlier, you know, here I'm looking at myself at nearly 60 and seeing my mother and the things that I judged and how, and then, right, I was happy with my belief system. That's why I said, you know, in the moment, I'm happy, right? So in my 20s, I was happy with my belief system because I knew exactly what brought health, what brought beauty, what blah, blah, blah. Exactly. But now here, I'm experiencing the results of my judgment. And I think that's one of the things that a lot of times we don't realize how much what we align with is weaving itself into our life story with the chaotic experiences we have later.
Yes,
You know, a lot of
exactly.
times we expect that chaotic experience today.
Right,
You know, I'm now looking 40 years later,
Right,
40 years
exactly.
later and saying,
right.
yeah.
It's exactly right. You know, you may not experience the chaotic effect immediately because you're like, I'm right and it feels so good, you know, and it seems to be working for you. But you have planted a seed of chaos, you know, with that false belief that you're right and that you're different and that you're right, that you're more right than others. Beautiful. Hi, Tricia. Lovely to see you. Okay. So we're in paragraph 2 and sentence 4, and each person establishes this hierarchy of illusions or beliefs for themselves, and they make their hierarchy of beliefs true by their attack on what other people value or believe. And then us attacking others for what they believe is justified. Why? Because our values differ, because our beliefs differ. We feel justified on our attack on other people's beliefs, and which means those who seem to hold different beliefs seem to be unlike us, and those who hold different beliefs from us and seem to be unlike us seem to therefore be our enemy. That's how it goes in the world. We're different. We have different beliefs, and whoever has different beliefs than me are obviously wrong. And my attack on their beliefs is justified, and that's why they're my enemy. Wouldn't you say that is the basis of the world's thinking?
Yeah.
You think about it. That's why we're always at war. That's why we're always in conflict. That's why there's always chaos in this world. That's why there's always chaos in our lives. We're always attacking other people who don't believe like we do on this false assumption that whatever we believe is true and whatever they believe is not, and that somehow justifies our attack on them. Isn't that deep? Until you really look at it, when you look at it, you're like, that's completely insane. But it's so woven into the fabric of the matrix of the world and our belief system that you literally don't think to question that until it's like, you know, mirrored to you. No, it's like, so, and that is the first law of chaos. Wow. Okay. So I'm going to, okay, let's go now to the second law of chaos, shall we? Okay. Now, and so that's paragraph 4. So paragraph 4, where it says the second law of chaos. Does everybody see it? Okay. The second law of chaos, which is dear indeed to every worshiper of sin, which is guilt. You calling me a worshiper of sin? Is that what you're calling me? Mm-hmm. If the shoe fits. Have you given any guilt lately, Anna? Well, have you accepted any guilt lately, Anna? Well, yes. Okay. That's only worshipers of sin do that. Only people who worship sin and guilt give it and receive it. So wherever you see sin, just think in terms of like guilt. And if you have that perception where you're like, well, I don't relate to guilt, then just ask yourself, when was the last time you gave somebody guilt? And when was the last time that you accepted the guilt somebody gave you when they did a guilt trip? Okay, when was the last time you did a guilt trip? And when was the last time you received one? Okay, you don't have to look too far back, do you? Not at all. But it's like we were saying last week, like I don't really relate to the concept of sin, of guilt, but we use it all the time. That's the way that we've learned to get our way. And then we call it love. So, okay. So it says the second law of chaos, dear indeed to every worshiper of sin and guilt, is that everyone must sin. Everyone's guilty. Isn't that what we learn in our religions? Lesson number 1, everybody's guilty. Okay. And anybody who says they're not guilty, stone that person to death. And I don't mean in a good way. Everybody's guilty. You know, what's it called? Original sin. Everybody's born in sin, even the teeny tiny little babies. You know, everyone must sin. Everyone's guilty. That's the second law of chaos, that everyone must be guilty, and therefore everyone deserves attack and eventually death. Okay. Now, this principle, this belief, closely related to the first, is the demand that errors call for punishment, not correction. Because the destruction of the one who makes the error definitely places that person beyond correction, and which means beyond forgiveness. In this belief system based on sin, everyone must sin, where in the belief system where everyone is guilty, okay, in that belief system, errors are sins. Errors don't deserve correction. Okay, so if you believe that you're guilty and other people are guilty, and that's just the fact of reality, then within that is the belief that errors are not just errors calling for correction, that errors are sin. And that if you are guilty, you have learned that there's only one way to get rid of guilt. What is that one way that we all learned that you can get rid of guilt? Punishment. If guilt is real, if you are guilty, if they are guilty, which means if they're guilty and not just mistaken, then they deserve punishment and ultimately death. What did we learn in all of our religions about sin? We learned that the wages of sin is death. That's what we all learned. And even if you were not brought up like in a religion, this is the ego's religion. And the ego rules the world so far. Okay. So in the second law of chaos is that everybody's guilty. There's nobody that's blameless. There's nobody that's pure and holy. Even the holiest of holies sometimes have a bad thought. Okay.
You mean the Pope?
Yes, exactly. That in the second law of chaos, that everybody is guilty, and so that everybody deserves punishment for their errors. And now in this belief system, in the ego's insane religion, there are no errors. There's only sin. In the ego's belief system based on sin and guilt, there are no errors that can be corrected by love. It's all just sin, and that the only way it's blotted out is through punishment from a mind separate than yours. And as you can see, that belief might make for a little bit of chaos. Everybody's guilty. And so everybody deserves punishment. That sounds like the ultimate recipe for chaos. I mean, that's destructiveness. Punishment is destruction, destructiveness. Okay? And that's what our wars are. We're punishing them for their sin of believing something different than us. Okay, that's where wars and conflict begin. Okay. So, and then in this belief system, the person who says, there's no sin in me, there's no guilt in me, I'm as blameless as the moment I was created. I'm guiltless, I'm blameless. There's no sin in me. What do we say or do to that person in this world if somebody says that?
That was the heretic.
We say blasphemy. That's the ultimate blasphemy, deserving death. You know, even us Course in Miracles students, when you hear somebody say, there is no sin in me, there is no guilt in me, I'm perfectly blameless and sinless as the moment I was created. You know, we're all like, ooh, they're not supposed to say that. There's something wrong with that. You know, ooh, don't say that.
When you need one.
What'd you say? Where's a rock when you need one? Even we who are learning this are afraid to say it out loud. The Course in Miracles makes you say it. The Course in Miracles says, I want you to say 30 times a day, I am the guiltless child of God. And you're like, like, you start getting this twitch in your face. Even for us who have accepted that, not that we have fully believed it yet, but even us who have said, yes, I see that makes sense. Even us, we have trouble saying that, accepting that, you know, even just saying it without even believing it, it's challenging. Okay. But if you want to undo the chaos in your world, if you want to undo the chaos in your lives and in your body, then the belief that you are guilty just because you made an error, and the belief that they are guilty just because they made an error has got to be corrected. And it's not hard to find where you've got those beliefs and guilt. It's anytime you're upset.
That's right.
It's real easy to find those beliefs. You may say, well, I don't feel guilty. I was raised in a religion where they didn't teach guilt. But do you ever get upset? Do you ever try to get people to do what you want them to do against their will by using guilt? That's how you know that you do still believe that everyone must be guilty and everyone must sin. Okay. All right. Okay. Isn't this fun to talk about the laws of chaos, what got us into this crazy mess? Planet Earth, a hot mess. Humanity, a hot mess. All right, we're all the same. We are all exactly the same. We were created sinless and guiltless as our creator, and we don't believe it. We're all the same. We're not different. We're all the same. Okay. We're all completely sinless and guiltless and don't accept that. Don't believe it. Okay. And are creating chaos to prove that we're right. Isn't that deep to think that chaos is not an accident? It's my ego's active attack on truth. It's my ego trying to prove that the truth is not true. It's my ego trying to prove that I'm not guiltless. That's what it is. It's not an accident.
One of the tricks that we see and the Course tells us all the time is that we will ascribe to a belief. I believe I'm innocent, right?
Yes.
I've now adopted the belief I'm innocent.
Yes.
And so the evidence that I don't believe I'm innocent is that I see someone else as guilty.
Thank you. Exactly.
Because I can't truly see myself as innocent and see anything other than you're innocent.
Now that is a test of truth.
Yeah.
You know, so if you say you believe you're innocent, but you see other people as not innocent, there's your reality test on that one. Absolutely. Now, A Course in Miracles says just because you can't be guilty doesn't mean that you don't make mistakes.
Right.
Yeah, you do, obviously. So it's not saying we don't make mistakes. It's just saying that you deserve correction, loving correction for your errors, not punishment. That's all it's saying. It's not saying that you don't make mistakes. It's just saying your mistakes are for correction, loving correction, not punishment. So we resist saying I'm guiltless because it seems like we're saying, oh, I don't make any mistakes, right? That's not what it's saying. It's saying, oh yeah, you make mistakes, but mistakes are not sins. You know, we act like when someone makes a mistake, oh my God, you deserve punishment. How dare you? It's like, no, a mistake can be corrected. Just because someone is mistaken doesn't mean they're guilty. It just means they've learned wrongly, like you. They've just learned wrongly, just like you. You know, Hitler learned wrongly, just like us, and was attacking because of it, just like us. That's how we're all the same. Okay. All right. So then it says, okay, right. So at the end, so we're in paragraph 5, sentence 3. Now that we believe, wait a minute, let me see where I'm at. Okay, let me see. Okay, so paragraph 5, sentence 3. Now we are all different from each other, and now we are enemies, since guilt is real. And now our relationship with others is one of opposition, just like now our relationship with God. Oh, I'm sorry, I totally jumped ahead. All right, so we're still in paragraph 4. Sorry about that. Okay. All right, so paragraph 4. The second law of chaos, dear indeed to every worshiper of sin, is that every person must sin, and therefore every person deserves attack and death. This principle, closely related to the first, is the demand that errors call for punishment and not correction, because the destruction of the one who makes the error places them beyond correction and beyond forgiveness. What you have done is thus interpreted as an irrevocable sentence on yourself, which God himself is powerless to overlook. Okay, so if your errors are not errors and they're sin, that means you've done something not even God could fix.
Right.
That's how bad you are. If sin is real, then you are so bad, and what you've done is so bad, so simple, even God can't fix it. But it says, so sin or guilt cannot be remitted or corrected. Why? Because sin is the belief that you can make mistakes for which your own destruction becomes inevitable. That's what the belief in sin is. Isn't that deep? And we're like, I don't believe in that. Okay. Right. Well, then why do you feel guilty when you make an error? Okay. If you didn't believe that you are guilty and that your guilt makes you deserving of punishment, not correction, then every time you make an error, you wouldn't be like, oh, you would beat yourself up. Okay. How often do we still beat ourselves up when we make an error?
Every day.
Thank you. Every day. So we still believe that our errors are sins and not mistakes. Because if we saw that just because if we realize we're not guilty, then our mistakes would be just mistakes. And we go, oh, this is a mistake. Oh, mistakes are for correction. Spirit, please correct that for me in your loving way. But that's not typically what we do. When we're in error or somebody else makes an error, we're like, oh no, I'm such a bad person. They're such a bad person. I'm such a bad person, right? That's the way we still respond to our errors. But we're learning that it's impossible that we be guilty no matter what error we make. We're learning through A Course in Miracles that when you make an error, you go, oh, That's an error. I'm making an error because I'm still learning. And I'm making an error because I learned wrongly. And oh, mistakes are for correction. Spirit, please correct that mistaken belief. Thanks. And we're learning how to do that with each other. Instead of being offended and angry and abusive when other people make an error, assuming it makes them guilty, assuming it makes them deserving of punishment, we go, oh, they're just like me. They're just mistaken. They just learned wrongly, just like me. They don't deserve me to punish them or abuse them. I'm going to ask for loving correction for them. Okay, that's what we're learning to do through this curriculum. So that, and it comes from the acceptance of the fact that we are not guilty. So it goes from we must be guilty to we cannot be guilty. No matter what mistakes we're making, no matter what mistakes they're making, we cannot be guilty. It's impossible, no matter what mistake you've made, no matter what mistake you made. And for sure, if you've made a stupid mistake like, oh, you're late, well, for sure, you don't need to beat yourself over the head with punishment, right? That's what we're learning how to do. And when you learn that I cannot be guilty, they cannot be guilty, it's impossible, then the chaos in your life goes away. And what replaces the chaos in your life is, oh my God, my life is getting better and easier and more fun and more joyful and more abundant. And look at all these loving, amazing people in my life. Wow. That's what replaces the chaos. That's the opposite of chaos. And who couldn't use more of that? And now we know where it comes from. The first place it comes from, the first fact is the truth is not different for everybody. We're not different because of our different beliefs. Different beliefs are illusions. And then the second one is we can't be guilty no matter what mistakes we're making. And so we don't deserve punishment just because we made a mistake, and neither do they. All right. Whew. It feels like such a load off. All right. Okay. All right. Now, all right. Let's go to the third one. I love the third one. And let's go, that's paragraph 7. The third, paragraph 7, which starts with this leads directly to the third proposition.
See how the fear of God is how it starts in
Okay, so which paragraph is it for you?
paragraph 7 starts with see how the fear of God is by the third principle. Is reinforced by the third.
Okay, let me see where.
5 and paragraph 6 is where it is.
Paragraph 6.5, right, is where that is.
Okay.
Okay, so it said, thank you for that. Thank you guys who are following along. So where it goes, this leads directly to the third preposterous belief. Okay, who's ready for the third preposterous belief? Who's ready for the third batshit crazy belief that we obviously believe? Ready? Okay, here it is. That this third preposterous belief, which seems to make the chaos eternal. Okay, here is the third insane belief that makes the chaos seem eternal. Because if God cannot be mistaken, then God must accept our belief in what we are as guilty and hate us for it. So, in other words, right. So see how the fear of God is reinforced by this third principle. So in other words, it's like this. If God doesn't accept our belief that we're guilty, that God has to believe the way we believe. So that's the third preposterous belief. However I believe, that is how God believes. However I believe, that's how God believes. Okay, well then that means that God must also believe that you're guilty and you deserve punishment, you deserve to die. Yeah, that's right. Okay, that's the third preposterous belief there, which if you believe that God has to believe whatever you believe. You know, the God that we've all learned about, that's punishing and angry and jealous and commanding and demanding, you know, that God that we've all learned about, okay, that God, that's our projection on God. That perception of God is our projection on God. That's not how God really is. The God we learned about, that's our projection. Okay. And so we're so insane that we think that God has to believe like we do. And that the Course in Miracles says you can't conceive of God as not believing like you do. And so God must also agree with me. And it goes on to say in here, and if God doesn't agree with me, then God's wrong. That's how crazy we are. That's how crazy our egos are. That's how insane our belief system is, right? And so this belief says that God is how we perceive God, and that we see ourselves as having to be guilty. And so God must also agree with us and see us as guilty, sinful, and God must also agree with us that we deserve not loving correction, but punishment and death. All right. So now, and then of course, if God, you know, doesn't believe that, then God's wrong. And then paragraph 6, where it says, paragraph 6, sentence 4, we can tell God what God believes, what we've established for God's belief. And God has only the choice whether to take our word for it or be wrong. You know, little bit of arrogance there. Okay, that was this last sentence of paragraph 6. Okay. Okay, great. Questions or comments so far while I see where we go next to save us time? All right. Let's go to paragraph 9, shall we? Yeah, we don't have time. Okay. All right. Let's see. Let me see here, actually. Let me just look here. There's just so many paragraphs. All right. All right.
The rest of paragraph 7 really goes into the consequences of the third belief, of how it might be worth it.
Okay, great. Well, then let's finish paragraph 7. Okay. So paragraph 7, it says, see how the fear of God is reinforced by this third principle. If you believe that God must take your word for your belief that you're guilty and then hate you for it, how can you not fear God? Now that you fear God, now it becomes impossible to turn to God for help in misery, because now God has become the so-called enemy who caused your misery. And now God, to whom appeal is useless. Nor can salvation lie within you, whose every aspect now seems to be at war with God and justified in its attack on God. Okay. So this is where our fear of God comes from. Okay. But when you're afraid of God, then you are afraid of the one and only source of the end of your misery. Mm-hmm. That's it. The end of your misery is not going to come from you. You made it. It's not going to come from somebody else who also made it. There's only one place where your misery can be ended, And that is from God, who is not the author of misery. But now that you've projected your false belief onto God, now you can't turn to God. Okay. And now God is your enemy. So where's your hope of ever receiving that loving correction for your false perceptions? Where's that loving correction of your belief that you are guilty and you do deserve punishment for your errors? Which aren't really errors, now they're sins.
And so now we can begin to see that these laws of chaos are all part of a very carefully set up plan to keep us believing in separation from one another.
That's right.
And to keep us from going to the one place where we could actually find salvation.
Yes. Yes, exactly. When it said these laws, their purpose is to ensure that chaos is eternal. You know, there is a belief system that we have learned and adopted as true, that whose purpose is to keep the chaos and the misery going, perpetuating forever. Yes.
And it will.
Yeah, it does. Thank you. It does. And it will. Yes.
Darn.
The mindset that created chaos.
Thank you. The mind that created the chaos cannot undo it. And I love that it used another word for chaos that we can all relate to, misery. All right. Now I want you to go to paragraph, for me, it's 16. And it starts with, these do not seem to be the laws of chaos.
15 in the book.
Thank you.
You're
Paragraph,
gonna skip the fourth law,
where's the fourth law?
number 9.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, thank you. I love having real core students with me. Okay, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. The fourth law, paragraph 9, where it says the ego values only what it takes. Okay? Well, this leads to the fourth law of chaos, which if the others are accepted, must be true. Okay? That's that the ego only values what it takes. So the ego is only a taker. That's it. It's not a giver, it's only a taker. It only values what it takes. Okay. This seeming law that the ego values what it takes is the belief that you have what you have taken. What does that mean? That means that by taking from another, then another person's loss becomes your gain. And thus you fail entirely to recognize that you can never take away except from yourself. Okay. So the fourth law of chaos is that the only way for me to have something, you know, like love or security or joy or abundance is if I take it from somebody else. That's the law of the ego. The ego does not know that you can only take from yourself and you only have what you give. The ego doesn't know that. The ego believes in the zero-sum equation. Everybody can't have everything. And so for you to have something, somebody else is going to have to lose. Anybody ever heard that zero-sum equation? Mm-hmm. That is what we believe. That's lack consciousness. That's the belief in scarcity. So the fourth law of chaos is the belief in scarcity, that there's not enough for everybody. And so you only have what you take from another. Okay. He says, yet all the other laws must lead to this. Why? Because enemies do not give willingly to another. So if you think you're different from each other because of your beliefs and you think that you and they are guilty and deserve punishment, you're going to see other people as your enemy.
Right.
And enemies don't give willingly to each other, right? And so if you see people as your enemy, you're not going to be like, here, let me share with you. You're going to be like, give me what you've got. And then call it love.
Mhm.
Yes, Barb.
The idea of the buck stops here,
Uh-huh.
what that reminds me of.
Mm-hmm. The buck stops here. That's right. Absolutely. Okay. It says, and so what your so-called enemies would keep from you must be worth having just because they keep it hidden from your sight. Okay. So then it goes on to talk about how, if you believe that this person is an enemy because you believe different things, then you are going to believe that what you need is in them. And the only way that you can get it is to take it from them where they have hidden it from you. And it says in that next paragraph, the place where they've hidden your priceless pearl is in their body. It's like, you've taken that love from me and you hid it in your body. Right? That's what if you think that you only have what you take, then you're going to think that they are hiding what should be yours in their body. Ooh. And then the last sentence of 11, and now must their body be destroyed and sacrificed that you may find the specialness which belongs to you. Their treachery of keeping this from you and hiding in their body demands their death so that you may live. And so you are just attacking them in self-defense.
Isn't that the core of all of our world wars?
And that is the core of all of our world wars and our personal conflicts. He just described a special relationship. I only have the love. I don't have the love within me. I only have the love that I take from you. And you better not hide it from me. I see you hiding it from me in your body. And so, the love that should be mine and the specialness that should be mine that you're hiding inside your body, since you're keeping it from me, that's you being treacherous. And now your treachery demands your death so I can live. Isn't that deep? When you really hear how the ego thinks, when you really hear the nature of the belief system that we have learned, that's based on we're different, we're guilty, they're guilty, when you really look at it, you go, holy crap. No wonder our planet is such chaos. No wonder our relationships are in such chaos. No wonder. But you see that the chaos is not natural. It's not real. It's not eternal. You see that it's just coming from a stupid belief. It's not even true. Well, now you see how you can correct those beliefs. Now you see how the chaos can be undone because now you see where it really comes from. It's not natural. It's coming from beliefs that aren't even true.
But so it also explains why there is so much resistance to truth texts, whether it be from miracles or anything else,
Exactly.
right? Because if the belief is, if you believe different, then you're my enemy.
Yes.
And the belief is, for example, love cannot exist in a body.
Yes.
And here I have this belief that you're hiding love in your body from me, and I have to get it there. You're now giving me a contrast that I don't know how to comprehend.
Right.
And so rather than try to comprehend it, I'm going to attack it as having to be wrong.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I am going to create chaos.
And it doesn't matter how loving your thought is.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. And then it goes on to say that by these laws of chaos, that is how the great inversion occurred. And the great inversion is that in this world, it seems like love is hateful. It seems like life dies. It seems like fear is love. It's the great inversion by which now love is fear, life is death. That is what we're seeing in our world, the great inversion, where everything seems to be its exact opposite.
Right.
Okay. This belief system is how the great inversion occurred, where now chaos seems like reality and peace seems like a dream, like a fantasy. That occurred because of the great inversion. And these beliefs are how that happened, you know. And now we live in a world where everything is upside down and backwards, you know, where love seems like hate, right? Where love seems like fear. And now we go, well, you only hate the people you love. No, that's the inversion. It's not true that you only hate the people you love. You know, what'd you hear? Oh yeah, what'd you say? Where'd you hear that?
Yeah, like I were.
You never heard that? You only hate the people you love? You only attack the people you love? Oh my God. Well, how about this? Love hurts. You know.
This is gonna hurt you a lot, me a lot more than.
Yes, exactly. You know, think about all the romance songs. You know, love hurts. You know, it's all about how love is pain. That pain is joy, love is hate. You know, it's the great inversion. And these laws, these beliefs are how that inversion happens, where now love seems to be hate, right? And chaos seems to be reality, and peace seems to be a dream.
And we have to use our bodies to get love.
And we have to, exactly, and we have to get we have to take the love from other people's bodies. We're like love snatchers.
Who worships sin?
Yeah, thank you. Love snatchers who worship sin. Now you wonder why there's so many zombie movies, you know, in our world. It's like, you know, you notice that zombie themes never go out of fashion. There's always some version of a zombie theme, you know, invasion of the body snatchers, zombies, you know, because by the laws of chaos, this belief system tells us that because you're guilty, you are empty, there's no real love within you, and you got to look without, and you got to snatch that love guiltily from where other people have hidden it from you, which should be rightfully yours, in their bodies. And the only way for you to have it is to take it. You know, I got to go get some love. I got to go get some specialness. I got to go get some worth. And I got to go get it from the person who's hiding it from me. The person who has it in their body, that which should be mine. That's the special relationship as A Course in Miracles describes it. Wow. And now when you see the underlying principles that govern this world and our lives and our relationships, now you can see why there's so much chaos. Because the laws that govern this world are 100% wrong, and they're 100% mean, unloving, not just false, but really cruel, really unloving. The beliefs that rule this world lead us to seeing each other as enemies. And it leads us to see each other as deserving death because they're different. You know, and so, but like I said earlier in the beginning, that once you look at them and you bring them to the truth, truth undoes them itself for you. So you don't have to fight against these laws. You don't have to break these laws. You don't have to rebel against these laws. All you got to do is look on them and go, dang, that's crazy. And I'm so glad that's not true. You know, and then allow Course in Miracles or wherever you hear the voice for God to tell you what is true. You know, so if the first law of chaos is we're different, and that our different beliefs justify our attack on each other, then what would be the truth?
We're the same.
We're the same.
Nothing can be taxed.
Okay. If the second law of chaos is everybody must sin, everybody is guilty, and everybody deserves punishment for that, and errors are, errors can't be corrected, what would be the truth of the matter there?
There is no sin.
There is no sin, and nobody deserves punishment for their errors. There is no sin, and nobody deserves punishment for their errors. Everyone deserves love and correction for their errors. And we're all making an error. You got a body, you're making an error. Of course, the miracle says the body and perception is an error. So don't say, well, I'm in a body, but I have completely correct perception. No, the body is a misperception. Okay. And so, what was the third law of chaos, which is that however I see it, God has to agree with me. Or God's wrong. So what would be the truth of that?
I am still a child of God.
Exactly.
And I don't know what anything means.
I'm not the author of reality.
And God doesn't see me the same way or hate me.
And God doesn't believe me. God doesn't need to agree with me, and that's a good thing. God doesn't agree with me. I'm not the author of reality. I don't know what anything, including this, means, especially if I don't like the way I feel.
Well, and I'm at home in the heart of God.
What'd you say?
I'm at home in the heart of God.
You're at home in the heart of God. Absolutely. Beautiful. And then the fourth law of chaos. What was the fourth law of chaos? Oh, that I only have what I take.
Right.
Okay. So then what would be the truth about that?
I only have what I give.
Thank you. I only have what I give. And not because I'm without it, but because I only know that I have everything when I give. I only know, I only recognize I have everything when I give. Yes, I only recognize I have everything when I give. That's why it says to give, have all to all.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't mean, it just means that only as I give do I realize I have, So.
Hold on to nothing.
God has given me everything.
All the gifts.
And God has given everything to all that lives. I don't need to take anything. I don't need to get my worth. I don't need to take love. I don't need to snatch love guiltily from whoever is hiding it from me in their body. How dare they? I'm going to get a restraining order on them.
There's such a distinction in the word take, because we also know that giving and receiving are one, right? But receiving is the other side of giving. So there's someone has given it to me and I'll receive it.
Yes.
But I'm in this place, whereas taking is against your will.
Yes,
right?
that's right.
And so that aspect of me getting things is still in place,
Right.
but it's a whole different dynamic because I'm receiving it from God who had already given it to me.
That's exactly, and has already given it. The Course in Miracles says that the end of the ego, okay, the end of the ego is the acceptance of the fact that God has given us everything. So when you say, God's given me everything, that's the end of the ego, because the ego only believes in taking. The ego only takes because the ego is a belief in lack. And so it only believes that it has what it takes. And so the end of the ego is, God has given me everything. I don't need to take anything. All I need to do is appreciate that and give from that sense of abundance. And then I'll know for sure I have everything. I haven't given everything, but I don't know it for sure because I'm still trying to take what I want instead of give what I want. Only as I give what I want do I experience the what I want that I already have. Okay. Beautiful. Well, there's so much more in this section. I mean, there's like 20 plus paragraphs. So go read it and apply it to any area right now that you are experiencing some chaos, and use these ideas in that area of your life to have an experience of the end of the chaos and the replacement by joy, love, abundance, and all good things. Okay, wonderful. So now I'm just going to do a few announcements, and then we'll just do a couple minutes of an integration meditation where we take the ideas and use them, okay? All right. Thank you guys for being here. I really appreciate you guys being here and supporting the center and supporting each other. I really appreciate that. All right. So the first thing I want to tell you about is the communication play shop that Dr. Carla and I are doing. And this is the one we were going to do last month, but we have moved it to the first Saturday in September. So September 6th. And it's called Building Community Through Conscious Communication. Yes.
As we discovered last week, the QR code currently isn't working right.
Okay.
And haven't been able to get to it this week to fix it because of some things. So I have a sign-up sheet I'm going to leave out here on the table for anyone who is interested in participating.
Mm-hmm.
If we can get their names, that way we know we're going forward.
Okay.
And then I can get them the link with all the information.
Perfect. Okay. Did everybody get that? Okay. The Course in Miracles says communication is creation.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty simple. And then the Course in Miracles also says that a healed relationship is based on communication, good communication. And so we are going to talk about what A Course in Miracles says about how to communicate in such a way that you experience the holy relationships, the healed relationship. The healing in your relationship comes from the quality in which we communicate. And then I'm going to be teaching a technique that I call the intentional dialogue technique, that is forgiveness in communication. It's a forgiveness process in a communication technique. So it's a way of communicating with others that accomplishes what forgiveness is and does. It's extremely powerful. When I teach it to people, I go, here's your new best friend. Here's your new best friend. That's what I tell people, because it enables you to be in relationship with people where you are practicing these ideas in communication with them. So, and we're going to hear a lot about what the Course in Miracles has to say about communication. And what is it what's your part in that you're going to be sharing?
Right. So we'll work through the LOVE acronym, which really is the whole person perspective of entering into communication with your whole being. Like, how do I listen with my body, not just my ears, right? How do I listen with my thought system? So love is listen, observe, validate, and embrace, right? So
Yes, exactly. Yeah, how to be in communication where you're not trying to get something. You know, how to be in communication with people where you're actually giving to them while you're listening, while you're mirroring, while you're empathizing, things like that. There's no skill that, in my perception, has greater value than how to truly listen to people in such a way that a real deal miracle of healing occurs. You know, the whole purpose of this curriculum is that we experience and accept our unity, our connection. Right. And there's a way of communicating with people where you feel connected. There's not the competition. There's not, I need to get something from this conversation, but it's a way of communicating with others where a real deal miracle of connection and giving and abundance occurs. So that's what we're going to be doing. So, okay, great. The other announcement I have is that at my house at Miracle Peak, on September 13th, on Saturday, a friend of mine who's like the mala making queen, she is going to be at my place doing a mala making workshop. Do you guys know what malas are? They're prayer beads. You see people wearing them. They're a long set of prayer beads, usually 108 beads. And so she's going to be teaching people how to make these, and she provides kits with different crystals that you pick from her website according to what kind of, spiritual support you could use. So that's the 13th. And here's a little, you can't really see it well, but if you're interested, come get one of these. It's September 13th at my house. And then after we do the mala making workshop, which is just 3 hours, then people are free to hang out on the land and do yoga, meditate, just be out in nature. So that's a part of it as well. So
And
that's
it is limited seating, so being in.
yes, exactly. I think it's only 8 people that are going to be there. So if that's something you would like to experience,
Who is it?
Kai Gabriel. Thank you. And thank you for that connection. You're the one who first told me about her. And then she came to the 4th of July thing. So I'm very excited about it. I love my malas. I use crystals a lot for meditation. I just love crystals. And this is a way to create your own healing crystal piece that you can use for communication, for healing, things like that, focusing the mind. All right. So that's it for that. Any other announcements or?
Yeah, I just wanted to announce that next weekend from Friday the 15th through the 17th, the Bliss Festival is happening in Longmont.
Nice.
It's a weekend of music and teaching and learning. The entire Bliss Festival is intended to build local community.
Beautiful.
All local artists and healers. There's the agenda you can find online. I think it's blissfestival.org, but don't quote me on that. It's in Longmont
Okay.
next weekend, and a big theme seems to be sound and vibration healing.
Nice.
So I encourage you to go online and check it out, and you can buy tickets either for the whole weekend or for a specific day. It's Friday, Saturday, and Sunday next week.
Beautiful, beautiful, excellent. And then I'd like to say that Matt is teaching next Sunday.
Maybe.
Okay, maybe. So it's either Matt or Carla. Okay, and then
You'll be out.
I'll be out of town. And then Carla, you're doing the last Sunday of the month. Okay. So beautiful teachers. I feel so honored.
Either Matt or I will teach for the next 2 weeks.
We say?
Either Matt or I will teach.
Okay, beautiful. Excellent. We're so blessed to have you both. We're so blessed in this community to have such amazing teachers, truly. Feel so blessed.
So also speaking of community, one of the things that you guys can't hear me speaking from my back. One of the things that we are working on, and in the last week, several of you already did this, is our community here is growing amazingly and beautifully. I mean, we're full house today.
Yes.
But we haven't had the ability to communicate with, like when things come up, etc. And so I am going to leave this sheet in the back. If you haven't shared your communication information with us and you're willing to, so that we can make sure you're doing okay. If we don't see you for a while, or we have special events, we can let you know in advance.
Or if we have like a weather situation where we're going to be closed.
So I'm going to also set that out there if you'll stop and do that.
Yeah. And let's do our love offering. There's a basket somewhere, and then you guys online, if you guys would like to make a financial expression of appreciation for the Miracle Center, then you can go to the Rocky Mountain Miracle Center.org and you can make a love offering. And thank you so much for those of you that have and that might. And truly, like Carla says, we're growing the Miracle Center back from COVID. And so every bit of your support and joining really, truly is helping us to regrow it into the happy, healthy Course in Miracles community that we all desire. I mean, there are not many places in the country, truly, that have a Course in Miracles center. Truly, I mean, you could maybe count them on one hand, maybe. I mean, maybe. And so what we have here is really valuable for Denver, for Colorado, and for all the world. I mean, think about how valuable these ideas are to world peace. Right, exactly. Pretty valuable for world peace. And this center is dedicated to these ideas that have the power to bring about world peace, not to mention just personal healing. So how valuable really is this center to the world, to the healing of the world right now? Because these ideas, you know, us coming together to join on these ideas, it's not just benefiting us here in Denver. These ideas, every one of these classes is live streamed. It's going all over the world, all over the world. And so, you know, how valuable is this center? And so we deeply appreciate you supporting it, coming here, supporting it with your love offering, or just supporting it with your presence, telling people about it, bringing people. We deeply appreciate it. And on behalf of the world that's benefiting from it, thank you. So, all right. So now I'm just going to do like a 2-minute integration meditation where we're just going to take the ideas and listen to some music and just breathe it in. I love the title of this music piece is Doorway of Light. A beautiful name. All right. Okay. So I just want you to take a breath, draw your awareness inward. And I just want you to feel what it feels like within yourself, within your mind, within your heart, within your body, to hear these ideas. And I just want you to also notice how it feels to hear these ideas in a circle of mighty companions, people who also want to heal their minds of fear with the truth of guiltlessness. What does it feel like to hear these ideas with others? And for just a moment, I want you to feel the fact of our unity. I want you to feel your connection with everyone here today and with everyone all around the earth who is saying to themselves, there's got to be a better way. I want you to connect with them all over the earth. Hear their call for love. Hear their cry for the truth that sets them free from guilt. Humanity is crying out for release from the belief in sin that has imprisoned humanity for so long. And so today, as we remember the truth that there is no sin and we're not different, we're all the same. We were created by love. We were created by guiltlessness, and we remain so forever, no matter what we believe. But as we remember this today, we are remembering it for everyone around the world who has been imprisoned by the belief in sin. And for everyone all around the world today, we remember that we are one, we are the same. There is no sin. And we remember that There are no errors that can't be corrected by love. There is no sin, which means there are no errors that cannot be corrected by love. And so on behalf of all the people in the world, we ask for the loving correction of all of our errors and all of their errors. And on behalf of all the souls in the world who have been imprisoned by the belief in sin, we ask our source, love, for its loving correction of all of our errors. If we had learned different and better, we would have not made these errors. And we thank you, God, for this most loving and universal plan for the correction of all of our errors. We give to you all of our errors in perception that told us that we were different and that we were guilty and that we were enemies to each other and that we had to take from each other in order to have something. All of our errors in perception we give to you, God. And we ask that you correct them in your most win-win loving way. Chaos is not your will for us, God, and chaos is not our will for us anymore. We accept our guiltless reality now. Beautiful. Now I want you to take another deep breath. Yeah. And then just when you're ready, bring your awareness back to your body. Wonderful. And when you're ready, open your eyes. Beautiful. Good job, guys. Way to love yourselves. Way to save the world. Not bad for a Sunday afternoon. What'd you do today? Save the world. What'd you do? I went hiking. Thank you. Thank you on behalf of the Miracle Center. And thank you on behalf of the world. Appreciate you guys. All right. Till next time. I'll see you guys I'll see you guys probably in 2 weeks from today.